Jessica digs into Karl Jefferies' case. Jessica also tries to help Aunt Lillian move on up. And did I hear Black Panther's getting a street name? Whoa, let's talk about it on Pearson. Let's go.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey-o, what's going on? How you doing out there?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great.
Good. I'm doing good. Hope you guys out there in internet land, whether you're listening to us by iTunes or looking at us via YouTube. I hope all's going well.
That's right.
So you want to turn that down?
Yeah.
So hope all is going well, and you guys. Hopefully, the weather out here, just to let you know, in LA is super hot still. I actually just got back from Vegas today, where it was even hotter. So, but that doesn't compare to what's going on this episode of Pearson. Some stuff is exposed, So I want to definitely get into that because we got a lot to talk about. So again, I'm your host, Tanir Williams. I'm here with my co-host.
Yes, Jackie Nova, and it's a lovely day here in Los Angeles talking all Pearson. My goodness, what an episode.
Yes, and just for those who are watching us by internet, just in case you're noticing, Jackie has her glasses on. She's not like super Hollywood or like too cool for everyone.
No.
She had some stuff that she's dealing with, so she had to wear glasses in the studio. So she's a trooper here.
Let me tell you what I was going to tell you. The spider that bit my eyelid is in contempt.
Oh, man. So when we get to that a little later, it might be a little out of show contempt, but it merits it. So speaking of contempt, just to let you guys know, I mean, we have some great topics for you, which include our You're in Contempt special segment. We're going to have some news and gossips, and as always, some show predictions. So before we get into it, let's get your overall thoughts.
Oh, my goodness. My overall thoughts on this show. Can we talk about how finally Karl Jeffries, the picture that Lillian found in Pearson's house, it's revealed.
Yes.
Episodes later.
Yes.
Oh, we knew this was coming and how juicy this episode is.
I guess the writers were like, we will finally bestow upon you, the fans, like what is going on with Karl Jeffries that we showed you like 3 episodes, before.
Yeah.
So happy they did. And boy, did they.
Yeah, that really stuck out for me. And what stuck out too is the Pearson wants to buy a house for her family. I was like, oh my God.
Jessica stepping it up. For me, I thought, like you said, just the overall, I mean, the Karl Jeffries case was just one of the big parts, the storyline. I really enjoyed how this just exposed some of the different characters on there. So since we're speaking about that, I want to get started with that right away. Obviously, that's the biggest headline of the night. Jessica digging into the Karl Jeffries case. And for those out there, obviously, Karl Jeffries was the one, if you remember, about two or 3 episodes ago, it might have been episode 1 or 2, where we saw the picture. They left us at the end with the picture of a dead guy. And we were just like, what's going on? Like, when are they going to explain this? So tonight was the night for that. So, Jessica starts digging around. She goes in. And the first part that I want to start with is when she goes to Aunt Lillian's house. She meets up with the pastor, just in kind of a chance meeting after she had told Aunt Lillian, hey, I want to get this house for you. She's getting ready to leave, meets the pastor. They start talking. Immediately when Karl Jeffries' name comes up, it's like the pastor's countenance changed. Like he was very like, sister, great to meet you. Come on down.
You know, she is so smart. I mean, that was not going to bypass her.
She was very smooth the way she brought it in because, the pastor was like, well, I would be remiss if I didn't know what was going on in the neighborhood, and she's like, oh, okay, well, could you tell me about Karl Jeffries, and he was like, it was like the record scratch, like, he was like, oh, okay, So that kind of started the ball rolling. Yeah. He started talking about Karl. When when there was kind of like a pause where she mentioned his name, he was telling the story, and for a second they showed a clip of Nick D'Amato up against the Suburban, kind of standing in the distance, and he kind of looked with a distrustful look, like, you know what, that's all I know. Yeah. Did you? I mean, at that point, were you just like, yeah, Nick did that?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's just so shady to begin with. And unfortunately, he's maybe not as super shady as we think and thought as the episode.
Right, as well, and we'll definitely get into that like later. But
I can see why Pearson was like, yeah, what the,
right.
yeah, you're definitely, you have something to do with it, because I know I was like, yeah,
for sure,
he has to have something to do with this, especially that he was talking to McCain. I was like, yeah, dude, you're like in the shady side of business here.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he seems just like the strong arm guy.
Yeah.
Like you said, working with McCann. But then we kind of, and we find out a little more about Karl Jefferies, that, hey, he had a lawsuit against the city. He was kind of an activist and, kind of bringing injustice, I guess, up to the city. He was like, I'm not going to, I'm going to stick it to the man. Like, they're not going to do it to us. And then, find out that he ended up receiving a payment, was driving a Range Rover.
$50,000.
And
man, come on. And you go and you spend that on a Range Rover?
Yeah, that was the tough part. So, like you said, after that meeting, Jessica starts to figure, okay, Pat McCann, this is definitely the workings of Pat McGann. Yeah. So again, she's going to have to, deal with that situation. But before she even, starts with Pat McGann, she confronts Carrie with, hey, went down, was talking with the pastor, found out about this, found out he had a lawsuit against the city, and as soon as he dropped it, dude got taken out. So
Carrie did not like her confronting her. She just, to me, seems like she never likes when Jessica confronts her, because Jessica is still like a newbie in Chicago, and it's like Carrie's like, no, I'm like the real mayor's sidekick.
Established, right?
I'm the established. I am Miss Chicago.
Right.
You're new here. Like,
and it always seems like, just as they always have like a meeting of the minds, or then maybe they come and like, okay, maybe things are getting smoothed out. Then something, like you said, will always come up, and you feel like Carrie's like, man, like, you bringing this up? You think this is... And, like you said, Jessica's super direct and just like to the point, like, hey, I think this is what's going on.
Yeah. I just want to know. Jessica just wants to know the facts, because she is there to protect the mayor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like she told Carrie, like, come on, you know why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to protect him.
And then when that leads to Carrie when she confronts McCann, so then you're kind of like, okay, what do they know? They're obviously in on this together. They kind of have some exchanges. Yeah. He seems to kind of threaten her. She's, kind of backs up to. It just seems like McCann, like, he's just that dude. Like, he just has something on everybody. And I mean, she even referred to it. Like, if you think you have something on me, you could try. Like, you don't have nothing, But I still think somewhere...
He is, what? I think that they casted this character perfectly, McCann, because he just has that shady looking face of a cop.
Most definitely.
Like, I'm like, oh, he's the person, if I was to go into a police station to whatever, I would see him and I would probably like not want to talk to him, because I'm like, he's a little shady.
Right. Well, it was interesting because then, when Jessica comes in and confronts Nick about, hey, did you kill, Karl Jefferies? And he comes forth with, hey, I did pay the dude, but I did not kill him, Yeah. And...
did you see how like he just got so upset over it?
And like you said, when I saw that, I was like, is he faking though? I mean, maybe he's just a good fake. Maybe he did. I mean, he's admitting this little part, and maybe just saying like, I didn't pull the final trigger when maybe he could have. So I was like, oh no, Nick, you seem, sometimes he can just be very, just straightforward and blunt, where you're like, oh no, he just like is just a real dude. He just tells the truth. And then other times you're like, like. He's in with some shade. He's in with McCann. He's doing some shady stuff. So he might.
I think the thing is, it's such a misfortune that he is mixed up with shady people, but then he's mixed up with not so shady people that are on the up and up. So people are still not 100% like believing anything that he says. Right. So I think that hopefully within the episodes, maybe he can build his character a little bit more and be more trustworthy. Because we find out how, I mean, he's crying at the pew.
Yeah, that was tough. And I thought in dealing with the Karl Jefferies case, one actually moment of levity within there was when Angela took Jessica to go see the Four Corners gang. And she was just, it was such a, I thought it was very, very well done how, even within that exchange, you know, how Jessica, for the first time, first of all, Angela was kind of like, now I'm in the position of, like, you got to follow my lead.
I know it's hard for you to not talk, but please just do not talk.
And this is, and like you said, I know definitely those type of situations where it's like, look, like she said, I grew up with these people. Like, I know how to talk to them. Don't go in there, like you said, big time mayor, because they was like, honestly, they don't care about that. I mean, these are some different type cats, you know?
Yeah. So. And actually, before Angela actually even said, and are you going to do something about that?
Right.
Outfit?
That was a good.
In my mind, I was like, gosh, she can't go to this, like, ghetto neighborhood talking to some gangster with this posh outfit.
Right.
Like, hello, I reek rich.
And it was so funny because her response to that, you know, because Jessica kind of made, Angela made that face where she was like, just, you know, something with this. And then it was almost like Jessica took a little like, well, I can do that. Like, I could dress it down. Like, I do have some regular clothes, you know. So, and I was actually impressed when I saw her come in. She had her little leather jacket and the jeans. I was like, well done, stylish, you know, coming through. But she still looked G, you know, still had like the nice jeans on. But then when they got in there and they were dealing with the gang, I honestly, I mean, at first, when they first went in there and Angela was talking, I was like, okay, she's going to go in and they're going to get some information. Then when things didn't start going their way and Jessica started talking, I was a little like, ooh, because those guys were like,
they don't care.
Don't care about you.
He's got a house arrest majigger on his ankle bracelet.
And did you guys see out there by listening to us by podcast or by watching us by YouTube? I mean, the swiftness with which they moved when they got her purse or when they took it away. I mean, he was up off the couch like before they knew. Jessica was like, "Oh man,
that was like a magic trick."
Man, I was like, "Yeah, these dudes are not playing." So
yeah, I was a little bit nervous because I'm like, okay, she's very educated. She's very. She's just not from that side of the tracks. So I was just a little wary. Like, I know you're tough. I know you're from New York. But this
that's
is like,
a different kind of like...
But, you know, this is also Chicago on the bad side of the tracks. This is another kind of element that you're not familiar with. I'm thinking I was just a little nervous for her.
The one thing I picked up on that she said, and I'm wondering if this is going to come back later, was when she said, you know, if you help me now, I'll remember later.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking... is something going to happen later where, you know, either that gang or something, and they're going to be looking like, I'm going to need to call in on that favor now, you know, and it could be something huge where people were like, yeah, they can't get away with this. They might kill somebody, you know, and she might be like, oh, now I got to help them because they did kind of help me back, you know. So I picked up on that little line because when she said that, and even Keven, I think was his name, was the gang leader. He was kind of took that in like, okay, you know, and who knows? It could be something, I don't know, with hopefully nothing happens to Angela or the family or something like that.
That's why she wants to move her. I mean, did you see the picture of that house? I was like, girl, Angela, do not turn down that house.
Yeah, that was.
If I had a cousin offering me a house like that, I don't care how mad I would be at the person. I'd be like, yes, okay, thank you, we'll make up.
Right. I think Aunt Lillian should have been just like, you know what? I don't know about her, but let's go.
Let's go handle that. Thank you. Let's go get that house.
Oh, so, you know, after she meets with the gang, other funny moment was when Angela calls her out, and you guys let us know what you thought about this. When they come out and Angela's like, what were you thinking? What were you going to do? And she pulls out the pepper spray. Like, what you gonna do with what is that gonna do against someone? And they just laughed because it really was like, that was probably really ridiculous. There was like 3 or 4 guys in there. I mean, unless she got had impeccable aim and could just get like every single person in like a second, you know, in the eye. Yeah. Which I don't think would have been happening. So
no. She's not much of a. You know, she didn't grow up like that.
Yeah, Angela even mentioned it. You know, she's like, she's part of the bougie part of the. You know, and they were like, okay, we could probably see that. You know, type thing. Yeah. So, but it was that little meeting really led to a big crux in the episode because then she goes back to Nick and says, I believe you. I believe you didn't pull the trigger and kill that man. And then he talks about like, you know what, I paid him. I actually thought in Nick's words, I actually thought I was helping him.
Yeah.
And
I really felt bad.
And
for
then again,
Nick
you're
at
kind
that
of like,
moment.
oh, he's pulling me this way. Like maybe he isn't like such a bad dude, you know?
Yeah, because I really think he's not a bad guy.
Right.
He's just mixed up with a bunch of bad and good. And so I really felt bad for him at that moment. I was like, oh, he's not a bad guy. He just had to do whatever he had to do. Because he did mention before, like in the other episode, like, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do for your family.
Exactly. And so, yeah, he comes out, and so you're like, okay, Nick, you're maybe not as bad as we thought. And then a couple scenes later, we see him going into the church, into confession, and you're like, automatically, again, just the twists and turns of this, you're thinking like, oh, he's about to confess he did do it to Karl Jefferies. And I was literally writing in my notes, killed Karl Jefferies. And then he said...
You see, that's what we get for assuming.
Then he was like, I can't believe, Tommy Deal did not deserve to die. And I'm like, what? Who is Tommy Deal?
Okay. Kudos to the writers. Yeah, that's a nice little twist right there.
Definitely, because that definitely threw me for a loop. I was like, what? So now, like you said, again, your emotions are like, oh, so he didn't do it, but he killed somebody else. Yeah. So now it's like, now I got to find out who this dude is. Man, so that I really enjoyed. Like I said, that whole the way they kind of they did that case, the way she kind of exposed some things. Again, moving the story forward. So again, you're like, oh man, like this thing is getting deeper and deeper. And like you said, how much of it is going to lead back to the mayor? We obviously know McCann was, involved in this.
Oh yeah, he's involved in all kinds of stuff, McCann.
So
there's no hiding that little crooked man right there.
So that was a deep part. So I'm glad. Like I said, we kind of got a little explanation on Karl Jefferies, what's going on. So that picture has been explained, or we've talked about that. So we still need to find out about why the FBI from last episode are looking, at Jessica and them. And then now we got to find out who Tommy Deal is. So you guys just keep us hanging. I appreciate that. So also what I appreciate is AfterBuzzers. We appreciate you guys listening to this program and giving us your support. And for that, we have a little something for you.
Yes, indeed. Listen, everyone that's watching on YouTube, everyone that's tuning in on iTunes, give us thumbs up, subscribe, keep following, keep sharing, because we are the ESPN of TV Talk, and we want to thank you so much for that. We want to thank you. See what we're doing right here? We love doing what we do, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So please keep sharing, keep liking, keep thumbs ups and all that good stuff, and subscribe, tell everybody, share the link, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. You know what? I actually was, after the gym, I went somewhere to eat, and literally some guy there sitting there was just like, oh my God, I recognize you from AfterBuzz.
No!
I was like, are you serious? He goes, I always watch AfterBuzz because I have certain shows that I love, and I love tuning in to hear the thoughts. And I was like, oh, so
That's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully if you're out there, again, listening to us by iTunes, give us 5 stars. We appreciate that. That helps us out. It helps out, all the shows when you guys really get out there, participate, and give us the 5-star rating.
That's right. It keeps AfterBuzz going and going and going.
There you go. Yeah. So there you have it. So moving on from Karl Jefferies, as we leave that saga, another kind of one of the other storylines in this episode was the deputy mayor. Oh my goodness, the tongue twister. Deputy Mayor Lloyd,
yes,
who was stepping in for Mayor or Bobby D'Amato while he's out handling business with his wife, having MS. So he steps in. And his main goal in this episode was to get a street named after Black Panther, or Fred Hampton, who was a Black Panther. Now, I know some of you heard in the beginning, I was like, wait, Black Panther gets a street name? You were like, wait, what, the movie? Like, no, not Black Panther from Wakanda. This was like a real Black Panther, yes, who were down for the struggle back in the day. So he's a self-proclaimed hippie. And I guess it was in the civil rights movement. And so his main agenda while Bobby's out, he's trying to push this agenda through to get a street named after Fred Hampton.
Yeah.
Now, apparently there would be some opposition from the police department, which was relayed by Carrie, saying this would not go through. And since the police are with the mayor, or the mayor's with the police, he can't back something like that.
Yeah, and Carrie just doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, you know what? She's. I feel like she's now that Bobby's on his little. He's not on a vacation. He's with his wife, taking care of his wife because of MS, unfortunately. I feel like she has a little control issue going on. She's cool and I love her character, but she's definitely taking advantage of yes, I'm in control.
Right.
Here.
And it puts my man Derek in a tough position because she's like, look, we got to kind of string this dude along. We can act like we're trying to get his initiative done, but really it's not going to go through. And we just got to kind of hold him off until Bobby gets back.
I like how Derek actually, how he goes and he goes with Lloyd and he gets the signatures and he goes on this venture with him and because he winds up learning about Fred.
And that was the big part. I think for Derek, it was just more of because I think at the beginning he was just kind of like, all right, man, I'll go do this and come along. But in the process of doing that and hanging out with Lloyd, he kind of has like a little self-awareness, come back because, Lloyd starts telling him about his background, how he was friends with Fred Hampton. They played baseball together. And then how deep their friendship ran and, when he was killed and all that kind of stuff. And so, Derek's like, man, this guy was kind of a real hero.
Yeah, but Derek's like, let's, I mean, if I was Derek, I'd be like, yes, please, let's have a street name after Fred, please. And I'm rooting, let's have a street name after Fred.
Right. And it was interesting because he has this conflict going on about, okay, I'm just doing my job. But then there's also part of me who's really like, man, I want to take up the cause for this guy. Yeah. And who comes in but some Yoli to kind of tell him hey man, why don't you stand for something? Exactly. You're going through and just doing this, go through and I think she actually said, be a man.
Yeah.
And go through and do
I love Yoli.
And I was like, you attacked the manhood, now it's like, wait a minute now, and actually it was after she said that is when Derek goes into Carrie's office and it was look, we got these signatures.
Well, men usually need a little kick in the booty.
And that'll do it right there. You mess with the ego. It's like, you challenging my manhood.
We know how to turn your buttons.
Man. And then it was interesting because he even posed it to Carrie, why don't you stand for something? Do this and do the right thing type thing.
Yeah.
And, he did his part. And we all, as we saw in the episode, she goes in. And when she thinks she's breaking down to Lloyd, when she's like, look, unfortunately this is not going to happen, and he's just basically, so you guys were stringing me along, type thing. And he knew where Bobby was. So he was like, I know stuff. I'm not some old dude who's just here, So
he's a smart man, Lloyd. I really love his character. I really hope they show more of him. Even when Bobby comes on back, I think he's powerful.
And he seems and even she said, she's like, everybody likes you. And he's definitely seemed like a likable guy. And I love the quote that he said, let me see, I wrote it down. He told Carrie when she was leaving, when he was like, oh, you want some advice from an old hippie? And he said, don't let your loyalty to the mayor turn you into something that you'll hate. Which I was like, ooh. And, it even kind of hit Carrie. You could see she took back for a second and was like, oh, I think she just said after that, that sounds like a threat or something. But, it's I
think it's going to resonate with Carrie and somehow it's, it's going to bother her that she doesn't allow this man to kind of get the street name after Fred overall.
Well, and a lot of people are coming down. You got McCann coming down, what, is he stepping out with another girl or something? And it just seems like she's always subjugated to the mayor. Everybody just almost doesn't take her serious.
Oh my God, Carrie, please just stop being with the mayor and be the woman that you are, because she's a strong woman. She's smart. She should have her own thoughts, which she does, but then she kind of lingers on the shadows of the mayor, and I'm like, oh, come on.
And I think she gets it from Jessica a little bit. When Jessica comes in, is just her, just her attitude, the way she comes in, basically,
she carries herself,
and I think Carrie feels that a little bit, man, you talking down to me, or you look down on me, and Jessica says she doesn't, but I kind of still think she's like, you're just the city attorney, or
I think it's because she's younger than like Bobby, younger than Jessica. So, it's expected. They're going to not pick on her, but they're kind of sort of kick her to the curb a little bit. Maybe they think they can walk over her a little bit.
I think that's exactly it.
Because that's the feeling I'm getting. They're walking over her just a little bit. So she's just this.
And I always feel that she's saying, like, you guys just can't walk over me. You just can't do. But I feel like people are like, oh, okay. Like, like a little kid say, like, oh, okay, little girl. Like, you need to go do this, or I'm going to do this anyway, my way. So maybe she might have that breakout moment in some episode where she really is like, no. And everybody's like, whoa. Carrie's standing up. Yeah.
She's quite boisterous. I mean, it's not like she's quiet.
Oh, no.
But she's,
It is just, like you said, it's kind of weird because you can definitely see like the little power struggle over everybody who's, kind of treating her like that. But like you said, it's not that she's... I think
they casted her perfectly because she's shorter than Jessica. So Jessica's... I love that it's the height that she is. She's a tall woman because it does give that persona like she overpowers people. Because I'm a little munchkin. I'm like 5'4". Jessica's like 5'8" or something.
No, especially she throws the heels on. She's definitely pushing 6 feet.
Yeah, seriously.
It's no joke. So yeah, that was, and so in the end, he didn't end up getting his street. But, it was kind of, like I said, I think it was definitely a growing experience for Derek. And maybe... he's kind of another one that's always taking orders, or everyone always kind of dumps on him. The mayor will come like, oh, I need you to do this right away. And he's like, what? Today Carrie was like, Derek, we need you to do this. And he's like, what? Like, can we stop lying to people, or can I stop? So
I feel like they're gonna have a street name. I mean, just not right now, but I think they're gonna keep on with that struggle.
It'll be definitely I like how the show definitely involves, or at least shows The Office being involved in the community, or like community issues, or at least they're being brought to the mayor's office. They don't always support it, but it's just like you kind of see the things that are going on in the community and how people have to deal with that. So in a very real way. I thought that was very good. I love this episode. And the last thing I wanted to, that was kind of a theme that I really noticed, and I thought that was interesting. It started out one way and kind of definitely changed mid-course, and that was the whole fact of Jessica trying to move out her family, Aunt Lillian, Angela, the boys, and basically like, hey, I'm trying to better your guys' situation, and she has the means to.
She does. That bugs me so much about Angela.
And sometimes people, if it's pride, and we definitely hear with Angela, it was prideful because she flat out said, I don't want her to buy it. I wanted to buy the house.
Yeah, but you can't buy the house right now, Angela. So, like, let your cousin buy it. I mean, maybe you know what? When you become a nurse, pay her the house money back or something. But let her buy it to begin with. It'll be under your name, under your mother's name. It'll be better for your kids. Like, I just think anybody in that situation, that just drives me nuts. Like, take the offer if someone in your family's offering it. It's not like it's some pimp saying, I'm going to buy you a house, and then you're like, indebted to that person.
Oh, for sure. And you can just tell and that's the thing with very prideful people, as you can tell, like Angela's very much like, I want to do it myself, and sometimes they can stand in their own way, or like, hey, don't block your blessing if someone's trying to give you something, and it's like, no, I want to do it. It's like, what? Like, like,
she's not even a nurse yet.
That's what I'm saying. I was looking at the situation that it's like, look at what you're in. Like, you're supposed to be getting like evicted in 90 days. You're dealing with this community, just the neighborhood you're in is not the best. And someone's saying...
And you were mentioning when we were watching this, you were mentioning the name of the area in the school because you said you went to that school.
I did. For those out there watching, especially if you're in the Chicago area, even though I grew up out here in LA, I went to school in Evanston. I went to Northwestern. So shout out to the Wildcats.
Yeah.
And so very much when she said that, I was like, that's my old stomping grounds right there. So I know Evanston very well. And very nice neighborhood. Very nice area, especially from where they're coming from. So
I don't know anything about Chicago. Right. I was there once for a commercial, and they flew me first class. That's about it. I don't know where I was.
that was. I was definitely knowing the area, and knowing from where they were coming from. and then to where they'd be going, you're like, oh, that's definitely the upgrade.
Right, so that is an upgrade.
Oh, for sure.
You would know. You know Chicago.
For sure. And not only like that community, but even like the surrounding communities around there. I mean, you definitely start getting into the more affluent areas as you head into, it's basically like the north side of Chicago.
Okay.
You know, like the south side is, you know, generally
it's considered the...
It can be like, it can definitely be rougher. You know, it definitely has some rough areas.
Okay.
And the north side is definitely, like I said, you definitely see some the nicer communities that as you head that way. So... yeah,
Angela, take the house.
That would have been tough. Like, there wouldn't even been a second thought for me. I would have been like, what? A house? My stuff is packed already. I'll be ready in like 10 minutes.
But wait a second. You notice how she was just like, well, you don't know. What if I change my mind?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the way it started out. You were like, she was so against it, you know, and then later on, I think it was when they were going they were about to go visit the gang, and they were like, well, if I changed my mind, I was like, oh, see, someone talked some sense into her. And I think it was more of because, especially when you started talking about her kids, you know, it was more like, if it was just her, like, no, I want to do it, but it's like, hey, you got kids involved. Now you're just being selfish. You're not thinking about them. Like you said, Aunt Lillian was just like, hey, better schools, like better situation.
Yeah, and you're a mom. You have to think of your kids first, not yourself. Like, put that, you know, if you're upset with your cousin and you have this beef with your cousin, put it aside.
Exactly.
Your kids come first.
Exactly.
That's just the bottom line.
And that's how things, like you said, when things change, when you just become a parent, you're just like, man, everything shifts off me, and it's just like anything I can do for my child or children to get them in a better situation or make sure their lives are you do it.
Do you notice like how Angela and Jessica just have like a yin yang relationship? They go from like,
they do,
and it's not Jessica because she wants to work it out. It's always like Angela, and Angela is always like, I don't want to look at you, or I can't stand you, and I don't want your money, and I don't want this, and I don't want a house to... Well, okay, I'll think about it.
Right.
And you never know.
Well, and it was interesting because at the end of last episode, they had that bonding moment where, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, your kids, this and this, and they were laughing, and you were like, oh, okay, things are on the up and up. And then she comes, offers them a house, and she's like, no, like, I wanted it. And you're like, wait, what? And then, like you said, then they're back to later on in the episode laughing and giggling after the thing. So, and that's kind of just like family, though.
It is.
I mean, that's a real...
I'm enjoying it because it is very relatable. It does happen in family, and it's interesting how it's...
And then, like you said, even with that dynamic of, you know, them being in the, living where they do in Chicago, Jessica being from a more like affluent side, you know.
Yeah, calling her cousin
I mean, and
bougie.
that's very, and it's so funny because I'm gonna be real. You know, in my if I visited like my cousins who were from Chicago, like growing up or whatever. I mean, I would have been the Jessica, you know, and they would have been, and they would be looking like, oh, okay, so this is where you from, you know, or when they would come to visit, like, okay, so this is like super nice, and it's a dynamic, but like you said, at the end of the day, you're still family, so
exactly.
you know, you could get teased or you know talked about, but you know, end of the day, hey, we're all family, we love each other, so
we have them all in our family.
So that was so again, really good episode tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we thoroughly did.
Oh my God.
And like I said, just leading up to it now, it's like I said, we got to find out who Tommy Deal is going forward, and you know, see how things go from there.
Exactly.
So again, like I said, drop us some comments. What you guys thought? What was your favorite part? I want to move into the top 3 quotable moments of the episode. Do you have or I should say quote, or just, I guess, moments of the episode? So if you don't remember anything specific, but maybe you have a favorite moment.
One of my favorite moments is when Pearson offers a house. I was feeling like I was expecting, because the whole time I've been watching this episode after episode, I'm like, my God, like, I know that if I had that kind of money, I would buy a house for my family member that's living in a place like that that's about to be booted out. So for me, I was like, ta-da! I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I mean, what a house. Yeah, that really stood out for me. And then I learned some stuff about Karl, and that was exciting to like have that unveil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I had 2 actually. One was when they went to visit the gang, and just the whole the whole way it just went down from them going in there.
Yeah.
And just dealing.
You liked how Jessica was looking down to earth.
Yeah, it was kind of like you kind of saw for the first time, like, whoa, there was a little bit of, especially when they snatched her purse, and it was kind of, you could see like a little bit of fear of her face, like, okay, these guys are no joke, for real. So, and how Angela kind of stepped in and was like, hey, remember when this and this and this, and she really proved her worth, like right there, like, I'm really saving you right now, cousin, type thing. Yeah. The other part was actually, and this was a little part we didn't really talk about, but because it only happened for like 20 seconds in the episode. But when McCann was meeting with the Asian guy, like the Asian, he looks like some kind of developer or real estate guy. Because
Macau is a bunch of billionaires in China.
That's what he said when they were saying it was the Vegas of China.
This man is dealing
He's no
with
joke.
A book.
And that's why and it was the first time you had really seen when the guy was saying, well, you said we were about to break ground. Why are you telling me 90 days? Yeah. And he was like, I don't care about Chicago. I don't care about North Park. I just want.
You saw McCain's fan?
That was the moment where you were like the first times where he's always been in like kind of like the bully position to be like, oh, I'm going to do this and this. This dude was talking to him like I'll take you out. And he was like legit worried. Like,
he was worried. He was worried.
I was like, ooh. Like sometimes when you meet somebody that's just more balling and in control, that more boss than you are, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll work it out. And he was like, and that dude was like, I'm not about working it out. Especially when he sent the girl away, he just gave the look, he was like talking, and then he said 90 days, and he looked at the girl like, I'm gonna need you to step out real quick. We're gonna talk some grown folk business. I was like, ooh wee. And like you said, I don't know. Sometimes you feel like something when you're dealing with like the international investors or international, like they don't play. Like, like they're coming from a whole new, a whole different ball game. So,
That's so those the Chinese mafia.
Yes, indeed.
I don't want to mess with them.
No. So yeah, that was that. That was my top moments for the moments for the episode. Now I want to roll into our special segment of the night, which I hope you guys have grown to love. There you go. When you hear the gavel, you know it's about to go down because you are in contempt. It's going down. There was many. There we go. Give me that's what I'm talking about. Now, like I said, for those, you guys know every week for our special segment, You're in Contempt, this is a point in the episode that just either someone said something or a moment that happened where you were like, ooh, like, I can't believe so-and-so did this. I can't believe they said this. And they are put in contempt. So for me, my contempt moment, I guess it was the Tommy Deal quote when I found out that Nick D'Amato said he killed somebody, because I was like really giving him the pat. Like it was like he was pulling on my heartstrings.
Yes.
He went in there, and at first, like I said, I thought he was going to say he killed Carl. And then all of a sudden he pulls out Tommy Deal. I'm like, Tommy Deal? Who is Tommy Deal? So it's like, you did kill someone. So I was like, D'Amato, you are in contempt. Bang, bang, bang. Slam that gavel on your face. So yeah, that was my in contempt moment.
Oh, man. Okay, well, mine, besides my spider biting my eyelid, you're in contempt, you spider.
That's right. Been in contempt.
It's Jessica Pearson. And you know why she's in contempt? She actually said the word, not in full, but almost, because she doesn't have any kids. And she said, bullshit. Caught herself. But you're still in contempt because, hey, the kids are there.
Man, using the grown folk language, Come on, Jessica. So yeah, you know what? Let us know what your in contempt moments were for the night. Definitely in the comments. Let us know, because I know they always provide us a lot. So please feel free to do that. Now for news, I want to move into our news segment.
Yes, indeed.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right. Okay. Look at this picture of Gina Torres, and that is in her Instagram. This is fresh. And she says, my garden blew up while I was away. Oh. And so I took the opportunity to pay homage to my favorite era in classic movies. And doesn't she look so classic in that? And I ended up somewhere between, and she puts hashtag post Mana always ring twice and Sunset Boulevard. Although I threw in the healthy dose of Little Eddie from Grey Gardens for my Instagram story. My tomatoes are delicious, by the way. I just love going on her Instagram, and I'm going to find other characters from the show to go on their Instagram because they give you hot, fresh news of what they're doing, what they're up to, and she's always in her classy business attire. I mean, looks very classic. She looks like the Latina Marilyn Monroe here. She's got that classic look, and that's my little news for today.
Thank you, Gina Torres, for that.
Thank you, Gina Torres, for that.
All right. Well, we're coming towards the close here, so but before we head out, we want to get into some predictions real quick.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh-wee. Well, I think my prediction is that one, I think that, you know what, the way things have been going, I don't think they're going to tell us who Tommy Deal is in the next episode. I think they might circle back to that those FBI pictures. So I think we're going to get some more explanation on, I guess, the FBI probably tailing Nick D'Amato maybe about this Tommy Deal situation, and maybe Tommy Deal is a big person, so maybe we'll find out some more about that. So that's my prediction for next week. There we go. I'm trying to connect the dots, be my own FBI.
Well, Carrie is going to have some words with the mayor because she's growing frustrated because any which way she turns, people are throwing digs at her. And I feel in the next episode that Angela is going to cave in and she's going to want this house because time is growing near and she's got to move out with her family and they don't have anywhere to go.
Better get that house, Angela.
Get that house. That's my prediction for...
All right.
Yeah,
well, you guys send us in also what you guys think is going to happen next week because you know what? We are going to be here again. Same bat time, same bat channel to discuss episode 5 of some Pearson, which I'm sure will be glorious, just as the other ones have been. Yes. So before we get out, let them know where they can follow you, Miss Jackie.
Yes, you can follow me at Jackie Nova 7 all across the board and on oxfilms.us because my movie Art of Deception comes out this fall. It's a Richard Ryan film called Art of Deception. Check me out across the board, baby. Coming out this fall.
And I'm the boy, Tanir Williams. You can check me out at Twitter and Instagram at TanirW. That's TENEREW. And again, you guys have a fantastic week, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. All right, take care.
Bye, see you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.